Saturn return is something that is feared in astrology for a reason, you know what I mean? But like, I also feel like sometimes people do the most. Like, yeah, the planet of life lessons and discipline and, you know what I mean, responsibility. That is what makes you have this like big wake up call in your late 20s. Like, sure, scary, but also realistic, because like that's the time when you kind of get your shit together.
Exactly.
And if you don't have your shit together, you're gonna feel like life is too much, and it's also scary. Don't lose your head. Okay? Don't lose your head, because we back.
And on a Friday.
It's Friday. How's your Friday going, y'all? Happy motherfucking Friday. It's Gemini season. I feel like Fridays during Gemini season be hitting different.
They do.
Like, you know what I mean?
Like,
what
you
kind
want
of chaos we getting into?
Exactly. You want to go out. You want to have fun.
Yeah.
You want to like call somebody. Like, what you doing?
Yeah.
What's up?
The energy
Let's hang out.
is enticing,
Yeah.
I will say. It is sexy, I dare say.
Teasing. Pleasing.
No. Yes. All of the above, honestly.
Yes.
I'm so I feel light as a motherfucking feather.
No. Finally today, I feel
You feel
light.
right?
I feel right. I feel light. I don't know if it's because our vacation's coming up and I'm just like, whatever to everything. Like, everything.
No, dead ass.
It just don't matter no more because I'm going to be out the country.
Like, honestly,
So, you know, so
get somebody else to do it.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? That is the energy I am living by.
Yeah.
And I love Gemini energy for that exact reason.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Things are only as annoying as I want them to be. Like, I just simply don't care.
Yes.
My problems simply don't exist.
Right.
You
Like,
know?
It's not, what?
It's all just a figment of
Onto
your
the-
imagination.
exactly.
You can really gaslight yourself.
Right.
That's the Gemini energy, the two twins. One of them's like stressing out, the other one's like, I don't care.
Yeah.
And I'm tapping into the I don't motherfucking care.
Yes.
You know?
Totally.
But before we get into that energy, I want to discuss Saturn returns. Because listen, okay, so, you know, I'm going through my Saturn return. And I don't know if you guys know, but essentially the degree that your Saturn, your natal Saturn is in, that's what you need to look at when you're looking at your Saturn return. Like, when is that degree coming up for you? Is the degree part of the retrograde? So that means, let's say it's at a certain degree and it passes it, but then a retrograde happens and it goes back to that degree. That means you're getting hit by Saturn multiple times. So it all just matters. Because that's astrology. The degree matters. That's when the intensity really happens. And I mean, I just have like kind of questions and thoughts, and I want to know, comment down below if you guys got sick a lot during your Saturn return. Because I swear, as soon as Saturn moved into Pisces, I got sick and I just wouldn't get better. Like, I would get sick, get better, get sick over something else the day after. Like, it's been honestly a journey for me the past 2 months.
Yeah.
And I mean, I could also correlate to the stress I've been under too. So maybe it's that. But I would be interested to know, did anyone else's health get affected during their Saturn return? If yours has, comment down below. Let me know. Because that is something that I definitely experienced.
Yeah. Yeah. No, for sure. I feel like I'm also going through it, and I definitely realized I did get sick more during that time.
Yeah.
And I hadn't been sick in a really long time, like definitely since before COVID, you know? And
Yeah.
I feel like during my Saturn return, I got sick with COVID,
Yeah.
and I just wasn't feeling well. My allergies have been like worse too. I feel like my allergies were much, much worse. So yes, I'm very interested to hear if other people have been affected by it as well.
For real. And like, you know, Saturn return is something that is feared in astrology for a reason, you know what I mean? But like, I also feel like sometimes people do the most. Like, yeah, the planet of life lessons and discipline and, you know what I mean, responsibility. That is what makes you have this like big wake up call in your late 20s. Like, sure, scary, but also realistic, because, like, that's the time when you kind of get your shit together.
Exactly.
And if you don't have your shit together, you're going to feel like life is too much, and it's also scary.
Yeah.
But I am also a victim of this fear, not to the extent of other people, because I love and understand astrology, and I know, like, what needs to happen. Also because, you know, Saturn is my chart ruler. I'm a Capricorn rising, so I am no stranger to Saturn energy. So I feel like I kind of knew what was coming, but also I had this fear of like, okay, well, what's going to happen? Like, what's going to happen? And like, while it's been happening, because my natal Saturn is in the early degrees of Pisces. And it's so crazy because I was just like waiting for it. I'm like, I wonder what area of my life it will be hit. You know what I mean? Like, what's going to happen? And I was just kind of waiting. And then I kind of kept telling myself, like, everything's fine, like nothing's happening. And then I realize now, like, just how hard the past 2 months of my life has been. Like, truly, it's been so hard. But I think I've really done a good job at like persevering and just like handling it and dealing with it. And like, it sucked a lot of the times and I was going through so much stress. But I think I kind of like numbed myself, not to the point where I wasn't dealing with shit, because I was still dealing with it, but I really thought like everything is fine when like it really wasn't. And like it really was some tough days in the past 2 months since Saturn moved into Pisces for me. And that's just so me to be like, this is all you got. You know what I mean? Because that's literally what I was doing. I'm like, so when is this Saturn return thing gonna happen? And it's like been happening, and now that I'm kind of like at the tail end of it, obviously there's still lessons to be learned all the time, but it's just so funny thinking about my experience and how much like I was waiting for it while I was really just in it.
Yeah. So funny. And I feel like too, like your Saturn return, one thing that people don't like, yes, it's like kicking you in the butt because it's teaching you hard lessons, but you know, after and even like during, sometimes you're like, oh, well, all of the things have kind of led up to this moment in a way. So it's like, yeah, it's time for me to address it. And it's hard at first, but I feel like finally you also feel like you have the tools necessary to kind of like get through it at the very least.
For sure. No, I mean, it's so right. It's so true. And like when I think about my Pisces Saturn and like emotional boundaries and the lack thereof growing up for me and everything I had to work through, like I do feel like the past 2 months with everything I was going through, I feel like if I wasn't aware of my feelings and I was just kind of doing my thing that I used to do where I was drowning in them, I wouldn't have been able to persevere and like really show up in ways that I still needed to show up, even though there was chaos all around me.
Yeah.
So I feel like I was kind of, learning and putting to use everything that I've learned thus far when it comes to the Saturn energy in my chart.
Yeah.
Which is to, feel your feelings, but don't feel them so much to the point and drown in them and use them as an excuse to not show up in your life and to kind of just be down in the dumps and, get super, super depressed to the point where I can no longer go on.
Right.
As dark as that sounds.
Point of immobilization.
Exactly. Because, like, the situations that I was in, like, I really had no other option but to just deal with it. And it wasn't a quick fix. So I definitely felt like if I wasn't emotionally strong, I would have completely given up on life. Yeah. Which would have just set me back in so many ways. Mm-hmm.
No, for sure. And it's a weird thing because like I said, yes, your Saturn return is going to kick you in the butt, but in other ways there are some parts of it where it's like there's beauty because there's beauty in the struggle and like you're figuring it out and you feel like irritated but like strong because you got through it, you know? And
it's so true.
There's merit and value in that, like I feel like our society like wants to be comfortable all the time and like things come easy, and that's not always going to be the case. You know, like you build character and you learn the best lessons when things get hard and you prove to yourself, fuck, I still showed up even though I really didn't want to.
Yeah.
You know, or like I was there in that time when I really didn't feel like I could be, but I showed up for me or my friend or whatever it was. And that's something to be proud of, you know? And like, I think people talk about their Saturn return like, oh, it's going to be so scary, but like, it's also something that can be really beautiful.
Oh,
and
it's
like
so beautiful.
You feel so strong and connected with yourself when you come out of it.
You know, honestly, everything I've learned about Saturn returns, and you could just even look at most people that are above the age of 31, 32. They have this sense of groundedness.
Yes.
You know what I mean? They feel comfortable in their own skin. They're not so worried about what other people are doing. Like they truly, truly are reaching a point of self-love and acceptance and confidence that they've never had before, you know, that we've never had before. And I feel like one thing to take into consideration when it comes to your Saturn return is these aren't just all going to be new lessons. I feel like, and I deep down know that Saturn will reward you if you have chosen to work on these things prior to your Saturn return. Mm-hmm. You may have not perfected it, but if you're someone who didn't learn anything throughout your life, didn't utilize any aspect of your, you know what I mean, natal Saturn placement and really trying to understand that part of yourself and teach yourself responsibility when it comes to that aspect, Saturn's going to kick your ass.
Yeah.
But I do think it will take into consideration if you have done some work leading up to that point. Mm-hmm. You know, because then you're just strengthening that skill, that muscle, essentially.
Right.
But if you've never worked out that muscle before, you're in for a rude awakening.
Yeah.
You know? So that's something to consider, too. You don't got to just, like, be like, like, you're 21, you're like, well, I'm just going to show up, and when I'm 28, I'm going to get kicked in the ass.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like that one episode of SpongeBob. I'm going to kick your ass. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can prepare for that. Like, you don't have to just take the beating.
Right.
And in order to prepare for that, if you want to, look at the house that Saturn is in, the sign it's in, the degree it's in. Really just deep dive. Do a little bit of research. This is why astrology is so fucking fun. At any point of any day, you can just get interested in some aspect of your life and go to your little chart and find out, you know what I mean, what placement you have, what house it's in, and do some digging.
Right.
And it really is a way for you to love and understand yourself. It's a free therapy session, depending on how curious you are and how much time you want to dedicate into this deep dive.
It's so true, because you could really grow from it, too.
Absolutely.
You know? Mm-hmm. It's a very productive relationship, if you ask me.
It is. And I don't know if it's a Gemini in my chart, but I get addicted. I find one thing, let's look at another article. Like, you really...
For sure.
You can lose track of time.
Yeah.
And it's so exciting and so fun, and there's just so much to be learned. Even for the most well-versed astrologers, they can still learn more.
100%.
You know what I mean? So if you're just beginning, it's a beautiful, beautiful world, astrology.
Totally.
Get lost in it.
Yes, please do.
Get lost in it and find yourself.
Yes.
A word.
Yes. A word. It's so validating.
It is.
You know?
It so is.
It's one of the biggest things I've really enjoyed about learning more about my chart is like I just feel validated in my experiences.
Yeah.
And it just makes me not feel crazy.
Yeah.
I'm connected
and that's
to the world.
It's a
you know,
nice
it's really nice.
Yeah.
Because, you know, like we all have our trauma and our things to get through and to overcome.
Yeah.
And to me, astrology is, like Sarah said, like a free therapy session or like a little map of like how you can improve, like where you're at, what you're working with, and where you could potentially go.
Yeah.
You know?
Truly.
It's great. And there's so many different kinds of astrology too.
Yeah, it's just so fun.
Right.
I feel bad for people that don't fuck with astrology.
Right.
Like, why do you hate yourself?
Seriously. Like, astrology can tell you where to live. Did you know that?
Yeah. Seriously.
Like, how cool is that?
It's so freaking cool.
You know? Mm-hmm. Like, that was so cool.
It's so dope.
I learned that people have special places.
They do. Like,
that
your
vibe
chart
just for you.
falls essentially has all these lines around the world, and different planets of yours fall on different lines across the world map, and depending on where you live, it can be beneficial for you or not so fun for you if you're living on your Saturn map or whatever it may be.
Right.
Like, it's all just so fun. So do some research, find out if where you're living is a good place to be for you.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's not, and you haven't been feeling happy there. Maybe look into that shit. Astrocartography, if I pronounced that right.
Yeah. I was blanking on the name, so I'm glad when I started talking about it, you remember.
Like, I know, I just don't know how to pronounce it.
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, in my mind, I'm seeing the word.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's
Let's
right.
go with that.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I just have to talk about something random that occurs every other night or so when I'm falling asleep in my room.
Oh, God.
There's this very aggressive man who just hollers and cusses, I assume, unfortunately, at his girlfriend. And it just pisses me off.
Oh my God, Maya, tell me why I thought you were talking about the ghost man that you see. That's what we're talking about, him. I was like, oh my God, he's back. Man. And I didn't know he was screaming. Because I thought he was not that bad of a ghost.
No, he was a friendly ghost.
Okay. Oh my God, yeah, the people.
This is a real living person who
I've heard about him.
Hollers.
So it's getting worse?
Yeah, it's getting worse. And like, I literally just heard one of their conversations today as I was like getting ready. And he sounded drunk AF.
Oh no.
And was like, I am here with my friends. I didn't tell you to come over.
Oh my God.
And then...
Was it Tom Sandoval?
Low key?
Was he there?
Was giving the same vibe, and I just wanted to relate it to that because I hate when men yell at women.
Yeah.
Like, I know your dick is small.
No, for sure.
You know what I mean?
No.
Like,
a part of him feels like he finally can yell at his own mother.
Right.
That's what's happening there.
Oh my God. It's just the disrespect.
I know. I feel so sorry for her.
I know, it makes me so sad.
Like, I don't even care if she's annoying. Like, just don't fucking yell at women.
No.
And break up with her. If you hate your fucking person, break up with them.
Right.
It's that easy.
Don't.
Like, I wish I could just go up to people and be like, do you hate your partner?
Right.
And they have to answer honestly.
Yeah.
And if they say yes, break up with them. Stop staying with them and taking out all the negative feelings you have. Like, I don't care if they're a shitty person. What you're doing is also wrong. Because to stay with someone, even though you hate them and every part of them irritates you, but, you know, you being around them makes you comfortable enough to take out your negative emotions onto them, like, that's so toxic.
It is.
And you're just literally ruining two lives, your own and theirs.
Oh, 100%.
Just take yourself out of it.
No, I just feel like they're so lazy because they're like, oh, well, there's someone that I can fuck, you know, like, without having to go out and try and talk to new people.
Well, yeah, some of them, and then there's the people like Tom Sandoval, who he's not even getting fucked, but he still can't even fucking leave. You know what I mean? Like, there's always a motherfucking reason. They don't want to be the bad guy. They will do everything wrong until you resent them and you have to break up with them. Because that's how much of a pussy they are.
Weak.
And it's not just men. Women do this too.
It's true.
They've checked out of the relationship. They're probably emotionally cheating with someone else. Mm-hmm. And they just become an asshole to you in the hopes that you hate them and you break up with them. Because they are so cowardly that they can't ever be the one that breaks up with you.
Yeah.
And they don't ever want to be the bad guy. I just want to say, who said the bad guy is always, like, who cares? Like, be a bad guy.
Right.
Sometimes in life, you need to be the motherfucking bad guy.
Also, are you not the bad guy for avoiding conversations? You know what I mean? And fucking around behind the person's back, potentially?
But other people don't have to know that. It's always a secret.
So it just sticks, like,
yeah.
That would eat me up inside. How do people do this?
Maya, the people who do this do not have a conscience. Like they don't think about it's eating me up inside as I'm fucking you.
You're right.
It's
they
all
just care.
They don't care.
Yeah, they just care about getting off. You're right.
They do. They always want to present their best face to society and outside world while doing what their gross heart desires, you know, behind the scenes. Ugh. It's pretty disgusting.
It is so disgusting.
It's disgusting. But back to the bad guy comment. I feel like at some point in your life, you need to make amends with the fact that you're going to be the bad guy. And it's just not normal for you to think that you can go through life always being the good guy. Because at some point, and if you do go through life and you're always the good guy, you have been fake at some point. So that's another crime.
Yeah, or people are walking all over you.
Yeah, literally, and you hate yourself because of it, because you let people walk all over you. So either way, you are a bad guy.
Yeah.
Maybe not to the eyes of society, but deep down, you are a bad guy because you have neglected your own needs.
Yes.
So might as well just make peace with the fact that sometimes in life, my decisions are not going to make other people happy. But you know what? At least it's the most honest thing for me to do. So I'm just going to tell people what I want. Even though they don't like that, and maybe they don't want to be with me anymore, and maybe I have to break up with them, and I won't have the same friends anymore, but, like, that's what I have to do.
Right.
Because this is what I truly want to do.
Yeah. You're unhappy in the situation anyways. You don't care about those people, you know?
You don't.
Like, if you're willing to step out or you're talking to somebody all kinds of disrespectful in the relationship, you don't actually care about them. Like, be real. Otherwise, you wouldn't be treating them in that way. And if you do care about them, then you need to do some serious digging as to why you treat people like crap.
Well, I mean, that's how you treat yourself. I wholeheartedly believe that you only meet people as deeply as you have met yourself. You only love people as deeply as you love yourself. One of my favorite astrologers, Star Moon Sun on Twitter, Danielle, always says that. And it's the damn motherfucking truth. Like, when someone is unloading on you and when someone is, you know, taking all these low blows and just being foul towards you, being so mean towards you, like, that is how they see themselves. That is how they speak to themselves.
Facts.
And that's not someone that is worth repairing. Like, that's not up to you to do it. But just know that, like, this person does not come from a place of love. Someone who is filled with love and joy and just happiness does not all of a sudden have this face of anger and aggression and just brutal, just horrible energy.
Totally. And can I say too, like, these men who, like, yell at women, you know, they bring out the worst in us as partners too, you know? And that's another key thing that I feel like isn't totally talked about, but I feel like should be talked about more, because that should matter to us as the significant other in the relationship as well too. Like, wow, like I am cussing at this person, I slapped this person, that's completely out of my character. You know what I mean? And maybe that sometimes has to be like the thing that makes you want to change, right? Like, I don't want to be that person and they make me act this way.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like sometimes once it gets to that point, you don't even recognize yourself and you're so far gone that it's almost addicting to just release all these negative feelings, you know, and like the lows are low and the highs are high. Like, that's how it gets in those kind of relationships. Like, fuck. Yeah, I did some disgusting shit. You did too. But now that we've forgiven each other, like, who else would accept me after I do some shit like that? It almost feels like you won't find someone who will accept these ugly sides of you. But how about you find someone that you don't ever have to show those ugly sides to?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you can't help but feel like, well, who would ever love me when I can act like that?
Right.
Well, what made you act like that? Was it the toxicity of that relationship? And let's not say it's always the other person. Maybe it was the two of you being toxic.
Totally.
Was it the toxicity of that relationship?
Yeah. Because we feed into that toxic energy too, you know what I mean? Like, I was literally thinking of when I was in my toxic relationship and I did something I was not proud of, you know? And I really had to think, like, fuck, like, do I want to act like this? Like, I got so mad. I don't think I'd ever been that mad in my entire life. And the way that I acted, I was just like, that's not appropriate. Like, that is so counter to the person that I know myself to be. And that was like the catalyst for me to get out of that toxic relationship, because I was like, I don't want to be that girl.
Right.
And not everyone is going to, you know, think about it in that way, but I did just want to bring that perspective because that was what changed it for me. You know, it was like, oh, I almost thought that the drama and like the arguing was like normal and like okay. But then when I looked at myself of like, oh shit, I'm being toxic now. Like, that I don't want to be that person. Like, it was maybe fine when you were that person and I was dating you or we were, like, engaging. But now that's washing off on me.
Yeah.
And that shit ain't cool.
Right. No, literally. Some people just really do bring out the worst in you.
Yes.
Like, we always talk about, like, you bring out the best in me. Let's talk about the people that have brought out the worst in you.
The ugliest.
You know what I mean? The ugly in you. And with those types of relationships, it's best to just move on and never go back. You know what I mean?
Do not look back.
Because if they did that to you once, they have the way in. You know what I mean? Like, even though you've grown, whatever the fuck, you being around them, they know the directions to that part of you. They have that GPS. You know what I mean? They know exactly how to get there, exactly what to say, exactly how to approach it. And that is dangerous, 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 which is why I always want to encourage people to wipe your hands clean and never look back. Like, there's just no sort of closure that needs to happen there.
No, it's so true because, like, if God forbid, for some reason you did have to see them again, like, you have a little baby panic attack. Yeah. You know?
Oh, yeah.
Because you're like, oh, shit. Like, they know who I am.
I mean, legit, like...
or they know this part of me.
Clearly, I've never been to prison, but I can imagine it's the same feeling as, like, seeing someone in real life that you used to be in prison with. If that makes sense. Like, you're just like, oh no, like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, we've seen some shit together.
Like,
we've done some
down
shit together.
Like,
I just don't even want to see you.
Like, I can't.
You've seen the worst of me, and I've seen the worst of you.
Exactly. And like you were saying, you know, like, I got to put that way, way, way back.
Yeah, like that
so
wasn't
it just
me.
never even, like, comes to be.
It wasn't me.
And honestly, it hasn't come to be since they got out my life,
No,
you know? So
truly.
that's how you know.
Yeah.
It's right.
No, they took the demons with them.
Right.
They do. They really did. And thank God.
Thank God for that.
Thank
truly.
God for that. Please. Don't ever come back.
Please. You is dead. As far as I'm concerned.
Okay, so I saw this beautiful post on Instagram, and I just want to talk about it. It's a quote, and it really made me think. So the quote is, "You can't decode everything. Some things are just meant to be felt." And I thought that is so beautiful, especially for Gemini season, because Gemini truly wants to understand everything. Very curious. Curiosity killed the cat being me. As a Gemini moon, I'm always trying to understand things, and then that tied with my Scorpio obsessive nature. Like, I just feel like I always want to get to the root of everything, and sometimes there is no fucking root. Like, no, like, there, it is just the tip of the iceberg. Stay there. You know what I mean? Like, life would just be so much easier if we chose to take things as they are sometimes. And I myself need to learn to do that more. And I feel like we'd just be happier people if we just took things as they are. Right. Why do we need to dissect it? Because sometimes we're just making up a story that isn't even true.
No, it's so true.
Just adding all these assumptions to make your story, you know, have a beginning, middle, and end. When really all you know is what the end, like what's in front of you. So why am I fucking like, and here is my thesis. Like, you don't know anything about this. And life would be simpler if you just let it be what it is.
No, it's so true. It reminds me of, you know, people who are like, I'm not going to make something my business until you specifically tell me it's my business. Yeah. Because it's like, why are you going to worry maybe about a conversation that we had, overthink it to death when I thought everything went fine or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, so many times I have done this in my relationships and my friendships where I'm like overthinking, like, oh my God, they didn't say hi or they didn't do this. Like, is everything okay between our relationship? Like, it's falling apart, you know?
Oh my God, literally.
Jumping, like, so many hurdles.
Yeah.
And hoops.
No, literally.
When you really have no facts or ideas.
I mean, I feel like, I don't know what the scientific word for it is, but I do feel like I've read somewhere that the brain likes to fill in the blank spaces. Like, it makes you feel more comfortable when you are able to fill the blank spaces.
That makes sense.
And maybe that's just me making that up, but I swear I feel like I read that somewhere. And if that is the truth and factual, it does make so much sense. But also it can be so debilitating because you again, you don't know these things, but because you want to make yourself feel safe with a story, you will just add whatever makes sense. I say in quotation marks to it.
Yeah.
But again, that's just a story that you're telling yourself. It's not what really happened.
Yeah. And there's always going to be some level of like unknown. You
know?
Because I feel like that's what makes it scary, right? It's like we try and fill in that gap because we want to know what's happening, Like that's why we try and decode things. We want to get to the bottom of stuff. But like sometimes, like this quote said, like it's just meant to be enjoyed. Like it doesn't have to have a deep meaning or background. Like it can just be.
And that's the beauty of fucking meditation. Like that's essentially what meditation is you are training your mind to just be still and, to let the thoughts flow through you rather than picking one and getting obsessed with it.
Yeah.
And that's why meditation is so powerful if you do start to practice it all the time, because then when things are happening throughout the day, you've trained your mind to let them go with ease instead of letting one thing ruin your day.
Yeah.
You're able to manage your emotions and your thoughts in a healthy way. But, I meditate every day, and I still have moments where I obsess over things, but I will say it's gotten better since I've meditated. And again, like some of the most beautiful times in life, like, yeah, it would be more enjoyable if you just allow your eyes to see what's happening and to feel the feeling in your heart and not let your mind try and understand what's happening and relate it back to something that happened in the past. And what could this mean about the future?
Yeah.
Like, shut the fuck up. It's like a person that talks a lot during a movie.
Yeah.
That's our mind.
No.
Like, dude, no one was even asking you anything.
No.
Like, shut up.
Literally. I was thinking, like, okay, imagine if you go to a concert and you're, like, yelling at the artist, why are you singing that song? Why are you doing this song right now? And it's like, bruh, can you just enjoy the fucking concert? Can you just enjoy the music?
It's the fucking brain. It's so fucking cunty and annoying.
It is.
I bet our soul is so tired. Our soul is like, dude, shut up.
Right.
You're like a fucking intruder, is what our soul is telling our mind. Like, we just need you not to die. That's why you're here. You need to keep us safe, but like, no one said you could talk this much.
Right. And you don't actually run all the shit here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, don't let your brain think that they run everything.
No, it's true.
In your temple.
No, they
You know what I mean?
don't.
Because they don't.
And
And
the heart wants to enjoy shit.
exactly. The heart, the soul, like, you need to listen. If your brain is running
clitoris?
everything, yes. If the brain is running everything, you ain't getting that clitoris stimulated.
No, I mean,
you
it's
ain't
true.
getting-
People who overthink, they can't come.
No,
Like, you
that
know
is
what I mean?
facts.
And
That
whose
is
fault
facts.
is that? The motherfucking brain.
It's true. It's so true. The mind fucked you in not a fun way.
No, exactly. You tap out anytime.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah.
The mind is a very powerful thing.
It is.
And it's a muscle, so you have to train it like any other thing on your body.
Meditation.
Uh-huh.
Or however else you want to train it.
Right.
There are other ways.
100%.
But meditation is just a beautiful thing.
And it may be a little harder to start during Gemini season, but, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it. And it may even be more lasting and beneficial to you because Gemini is such a heady air sign.
For sure. If my Gemini moon ass can do it,
you can do it too. Okay, so I found a list, a zodiac list, about how the signs mess up their relationships. So, and I oop.
Oh my God. Trying to make the people cry? Right,
yeah,
let's do it.
So, since it's Gemini season, should we start off with Gemini?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so Gemini, how you mess up your relationship is by posting literally everything on social media.
That's actually really funny.
That is really funny.
No, truly, because, yeah, no. Yeah. That's actually very true.
Yeah, I can see this in, they also just in the sense that Gemini maybe overshares things too much in their relationships, and that one probably doesn't make your partner feel very secure or special.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Absolutely. I was nervous when my boyfriend made a Twitter and added me.
So good.
Because I be popping off on there, and I be saying vulgar shit. I be talking about shit. You know what I mean? I be venting like it's my diary.
That's your diary.
And maybe it's about you. Like, you know what I mean? And I was scared that I had to like censor myself. And luckily I haven't had to, and it's all good. And he just supports me and loves me, which is fine. This is great. But yeah, I could see if I had someone who wasn't as, confident, and just loving and whatever, like I could see why they would take the things you know what I mean?
Yeah.
'Cause you know me. And Gemini's such a jokester energy of like the shit I'm saying, don't always take it so seriously.
Yeah.
Like I'm just having fun, and like maybe this isn't even about me. Like I just thought it would be a funny like line to say or whatever it may be.
Right.
Gemini's such a jokester, and another aspect of this is Kanye. You know what I mean? It's not always the funny Geminis that just want to joke around and fool around and just say dumb shit on social media and overshare. There's literal Geminis that, will go on social media and actively talk shit and ruin their relationship.
Yeah, embarrass you.
Not everything is for the world to fucking know.
Yeah.
So I think I'm not a good example because I have a lot of Scorpio in my chart. So I'm very private too. But I would say actually with my Twitter, I'm very transparent. I talk about shit I'm going through, shit that makes me happy, my family, my relationships. I say dumb shit. I call people out. It's really all of me.
Yeah.
It's not just me going on there just to talk shit.
No, for
which
sure.
Some Geminis do.
For sure. And either way, I feel like Gemini needs some type of outlet where they can overshare.
Yeah.
And just run their mouths, whether that be to their friends on social media, to their partner. Like they need to have that communicative release in some type of way. So
Absolutely.
For a lot of them, yes, it is on social media, but like for others, like it'll be in other forms, but either way, they are oversharing with somebody. Probably,
and it's gonna get back to your partner that you thought it was funny to kiki and say some dumb shit, and now your partner views you as someone that they can't trust with their inner thoughts and feelings and experiences. Not every experience you have with your partner needs to be shared with everybody.
Facts.
Gemini. Like secrets are fun.
Yes.
Secrets make friends.
Yes.
As no one would say.
Right.
Like we were watching Vanderpump Rules, and one of the cast members, Sheena, and her husband now, they had this big wedding in Mexico, and then like a day before the wedding, she told all her bridesmaids, well, actually, like, we've been married for a year, and we just kept it a secret. And Maya saw, I giggled, and I was like, oh my God, I just love secrets. I love that. Like, I love that they did that. That's so cute. Like,
yes.
Because some things are just so nice to just keep between you and your partner.
Yes.
I'm not saying keep your relationship a secret. I'm saying have little secrets with each other. It makes the bond special.
Yes. And that is what everybody needs in a relationship. And Gemini, sometimes you don't be making your partner feel special.
Yeah.
Because you're so friendly with everybody.
Okay, so next we'll do Cancer. How you mess up your relationships. Being too clingy, motherly, overcaring, overly emotional.
Wow.
That's a lot of things. Check. Yeah, I feel like if someone doesn't fuck with that energy, they're going to run for the hills. But, like, that is who Cancer is to their core. They're not going to stop being clingy. They're not going to stop worrying about you like your mother. You know what I mean? They're not going to stop being emotional. Like, those are all true to who they are.
No, that's true. They do be coming on
very strong.
Real strong.
So and with people who like that.
For sure. And, I think some Cancers do, like, they can be quick to hop in relationships. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And then they never want to separate. Like, I feel like Cancers can be very codependent. And the Cancer wouldn't say that that is an issue. But for someone who maybe doesn't feel that same way, they will be annoyed and want to break up because they aren't used to that type of closeness.
Yeah.
You know? So like Sarah said, Cancer, you just have to find someone who wants to be attached to your hip as well.
And suck on their titty.
Right. But people will like break up with you and you're going to hear these negative traits. Yeah. If you don't connect with that specific type of person that you need.
Absolutely. And again, there's being clingy and emotional, motherly, all those things. Find a person who values that, but also there is a chance that you might get too clingy, like you're being controlling. Yeah. You're not letting them do their own thing ever. Mm-hmm. You are acting like their mom. Mm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You're telling them how they should act, what they should do. At some point that gets, if you don't like them, don't be with them. Yeah. Mothering them too much, at some point that may become a point of resentment for your partner.
For sure. Like, you don't want to be doing everything for them because they will start to resent you if you do everything for your partner. You know, and Cancer is willing to do that for the people that they love. Yeah. But you don't deserve that type of resentment.
I mean, the whole term weaponized incompetence, it speaks to just that. It happens at work and it can happen in your home, people. You know what I mean? Can. Like, someone will see that around you, they don't have to do anything. Mm-hmm. So they'll pretend that they don't know how to do anything, which means now you have to do everything. Weaponized incompetence.
Yes. Okay, the other thing I want to say, Cancer, as a Cancer friend, okay, is sometimes when y'all get in relationships, you go MIA. So I want you to remember your friends in your relationship, you know, because that is maybe something that can help you from coming off too clingy in the beginning of a relationship. Like, you have to do a better job of, like, yes, you're very excited about this new love partner, but I still have other relationships I need to nurture, like my friends and my family and my job and these other things. Yeah. You know? Okay, Leo, how you mess up your relationships is turning every little thing into a big deal and saying words that are too big for you to follow. Oh.
And saying words that are too big for you to follow.
Who made this list and why do you hate Leo?
As in saying words that are too big for you to follow, as in you are grand with the accusations you're making?
Maybe. Yeah. Or like, maybe they're trying to come off like they're like smarter and better, so they're like throwing like big words. So people can't follow you.
This kind of reminded me of Lindsay from Summer House. And, you know, I actually fuck with Lindsay. Yeah. And I don't know. I think people come down on her a little too hard. But we have seen how she gets in relationships. She's a Leo. And she can be very, very dramatic and, like, aggressive during their fights. And I think it scares some people off. I mean, even her current partner, like, who I think they're meant for each other, her and Carl, totally. But I do think he also has an issue with that because he wants her to express her raw emotions in a way that isn't so aggressive. Yeah. So I do think Leos, I mean, I'm a Leo Mars. I'd be doing that shit too. I do think that's something that can definitely mess up your relationships because the dramatics of it all, although it's very exciting for you, Leo, to have like a whole, like, you know, a fight and everyone's sharing and you know what I mean? It's like a screaming match. Like we're on a telenovela. Like all that shit I feel like sometimes can be intoxicating when you're in it. Yeah. Because you feel like there's passion there. But if your partner views this as a really big fight and you're just getting turned on by it, they're going to think that there's something wrong in the relationship and they're going to leave and you're going to be like, no, like we were having fun. Yell at me back. You know what I mean? No. You guys are not speaking the same language. So say that as a Leo Mars who enjoys fighting sometimes.
True. No, you need to have a little bit of the theater going a little bit with the dramatics.
It's all for the theater. Okay? Yeah. All of it.
Yeah. And if you don't, I don't know, kind of like get attentive to them when they are like blowing up in that instance.
Oh, to walk away and ignore me?
Oh my God.
That wasn't now we're fighting.
The Leo ends the...
Yeah. You know? I'm like, that wasn't even a fight.
I'm going in on you now and I'm breaking up with you.
No, dead ass. Because like, we were just having fun. But now if you really want to fight, we'll fucking fight.
Right. You're not going to ignore me.
No.
You're not going to ignore my feelings. That's what you're not going to do.
Especially when I'm, we're having a yelling match and I'm making some really good, passionate points. Like, sometimes I wish there was an audience clapping for me because I really did pour my whole heart out to this. And if someone doesn't give me the reaction I'm looking for back, I'm like, so you don't care.
Yeah.
Toxic.
Right.
Toxic.
Sent into overdrive.
Okay, next we have Virgo, and the reason you mess up relationships is because you're overthinking every little thing.
That is the truest statement. I feel like there are so many things going through Virgo's mind, and what we were talking about earlier, like, they can't enjoy the relationship, like, they're, like, thinking too much about the last a conversation you had 2 weeks ago. Are you still mad about it? And it's like, fuck, like, you overthinking makes your partners feel insecure in the relationship.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like, you're always second guessing things. Like, how can I feel confident in what we have going here?
No, for sure. And they're not even...
Or how you feel about me.
They don't feel comfortable enough to even share the things that they're overthinking about.
Right.
Because then you can almost validate them and let them know, hey, that's not at all what's happening here. But because they're so private, they don't share it.
Right. And so you never really get to know a Virgo sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, it takes a while to get to know them, especially in terms of love. And it's like, Virgo, it must be frustrating for you because, like, you finally like someone and you quite literally cannot enjoy them, which is such a shame, like, for you. Because it doesn't have to be that way. You could open up and share how you're feeling, and then your partner hopefully would reciprocate and let you know that it doesn't have to be that way. But again, Virgo quite literally ends the relationship by not sharing.
Yeah, and then it's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy because once you catch on that the Virgo isn't sharing enough with you, you kind of start pulling back, and the Virgo's like, well, I knew you didn't fuck with me like that anyway.
Right! You're like, you're giving me nothing.
They're like, what can I even work off of?
Right.
No, deadass. I'm like, I feel like sometimes to Virgo, if they were to admit that they're overthinking things, they can come off unconfident. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And they don't want to show up like that. Like, more than anything, they want to feel confident in their decisions. They want to feel like they're doing the right thing in relationships and moving in a way that shows you that they want you. But at the end of the day, they know if they were to share these experiences with you, they're overthinking ways with you too early on, you might step away. So they kind of try and like hide that part of themselves because they're kind of ashamed by it.
Right. And it's sad because honestly, Virgo, like, your brain is really beautiful and the way that it works is freaking amazing. So again, all I really want to say is don't be afraid to be vulnerable and share how you're feeling, especially with someone that you like, because they probably are feeling you too, but they don't know that you are feeling them. Yeah, because of your wall that you have up.
Seriously, if you want to be in a relationship, you need to share your mind with people. Yeah, and I don't like that sometimes Virgos, they use that to their advantage to come off mysterious when I know you guys aren't really mysterious. Like, you're just like an overthinker. Yeah. But like, it makes people think that you're mysterious, so it confuses them, and now they're attached to you when you are just a stress ball. Right. You know what I mean? Like, and some people want you, stress ball and all. Totally. But don't be doing that nonchalant thing like you don't care. No, we know you're quiet because you're overthinking. Maybe they don't know, but I know. Right. There's no... I know. So just tell me how you feel. God damn it. Right.
Because you deserve to be loved, Virgo.
Yeah, you do. No, we all are flawed, and we all deserve to be loved for who we are. And there's nothing more comforting in this world than when you share the parts of your mind that you feel ashamed by with someone you love and you trust them with that information, and they validate you and let you know. Even though you think like that and you have all these fears, I still love you. Right. And I'm here to remind you that I don't think any less of you, even though you deal with these insecurities.
100%. Virgo, you can learn something from Scorpio in this instance. Because I feel like Scorpio is private, but they are still able to share their emotions with the people that they choose, you know? And Virgo, you need to do more of that.
Yeah. Share your feelings, boo.
Yeah. You're not weak for sharing it. You know, people care. We want to know. Tell them people.
Yeah. And we'll work through it with you. Mm-hmm. Find the right people, and they'll work through it with you. They won't feel awkward when you are taking things slowly, talking it out slowly. Mm-hmm. They'll be patient with you. Mm-hmm.
All right, y'all. Thank you so much for kicking it with us today on this fine Friday.
Yay! And I believe the moon's going to be in Sagittarius probably when they're listening, or it's going to be in Sagittarius soon. So enjoy this beautiful, fun Sagittarius, moon weekend. Well, I mean, it's going to be a full moon, so, rest up. But it's still in Sagittarius, so be jolly before you get sad.
Yeah.
We love y'all so much. We're going to link our social somewhere over here. Mm-hmm. If you are listening on Spotify, Apple, wherever, leave us a review.
Yes.
5 stars, baby. What we say? 5-star resort.
5 stars.
Okay? We would appreciate that if you're all inclusive. Laughs, giggles, real shit. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe. Mm-hmm. Don't forget to leave a comment about your Saturn return. I want to know.
Yes.
All right. We love y'all so